Welcome, everyone online and in person. It's good to see you all. So, by way of introduction, I'm Scott Gregory. I'm the guy who's going to talk your ear off today. I'm the Deputy Director over the Office of Digital Innovation and Technology Engagement, which is a new organization within Department of Technology that's very much focused on digital service delivery. And that's a very broad sort of concept and topic. And I'm hoping to dig into a little bit more detail for you today of what that means and illustrate that with some of my agenda left me here, but some of the items that I want to share today around open data, around the Innovation Lab, and around ca.gov. But in particular, this first presentation we want to provide to you is going to be done by Eric Kauffman, but I want to tee it up. And this is something called WebDAV. How many of you have heard of WebDAV before? Anybody? One guy, one is. Okay, good. Eric, you've heard of it, I hope?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Eric knows all about it. I'm glad. When Eric first came to me and talked about WebDAV is this concept, and Eric, I won't go into too much detail, you'll do that, but it's a way for us to look at development in a different way. And the way that we're applying WebDAV to an application that we want to share with you is for file sharing. So one of the applications that Eric has developed is something called exchange.data.ca.gov. Now, correct, you're going to show some of that. Okay, good. Now, why that's important to the broader vision of digital service delivery and open data in the Innovation Lab within the state of California is that WebDAV allows us to share content seamlessly through sort of a browser-based file share. Copy, paste, drag and drop, any number of file types. We have a restriction on the actual size limit of files that are able to be shared, but it's a really, I think, a novel way to be able to exchange information, run security around that exchange, establish groups for sharing content and data. It becomes extremely important when we start to look at the state's open data program and plans and how that ties into the broader sort of web footprint across the state. And Eric, I won't dig into much more than that. Is that enough of an intro? I'll have Eric come up, and Eric's going to kind of go through things and demonstrate. While Eric's coming up, I'll introduce him. This is Eric Kauffman. Eric's my lead developer extraordinaire from, he's got lots of years of experience here within the state, and he's just a pleasure to work with. Eric, come on up.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everybody. So I'm Eric. I work for Scott, and I'm going to give you a little tour guide of what we put together with using WebDAV, and I'm going to also, let's see if I got the right one. Nope.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Type it in here. I thought today, instead of giving you PowerPoint slides, I'd show the real deal and sort of like a tour around it. So WebDAV is something that goes way back to, I want to say, like 10 years. And it's a protocol that builds upon the base. We have a certificate problem. Oh, I think we might be going through a proxy. It's a classic, right? There we go. Voila. Okay. So WebDAV goes back a number of years. Everyone's familiar with SharePoint, right? So SharePoint uses it. WebDAV takes the base functions that a web server does. Like get, you've heard like a get string, and put, like you're putting a form, and some other what they call verbs. So get and put are verbs. And then it extends those so you can do things like upload and download files, and then keep track of file versions, and do a few other things. And so you're familiar with SharePoint, because SharePoint you can actually open a file from SharePoint, edit it, and when you save it, if your program you're using, like Excel or something, is WebDAV aware, it saves it back to the web. So what we wanted to do was have a place that you can share files. And that in itself is an old concept that goes back to the FTP days. It's not new, right? But what's new today is technology around file sharing has evolved. So you're no longer, well, when I used to do this, when I knew Kristen, right before I knew Kristen, we used to share files using the FTP command line client. Now we have software that can automate that stuff. You can build like a flow model, and it takes files from one place, transforms it, manipulates it, and puts it somewhere else. So we needed a place that not only did FTP-like stuff, it had an API, a way that programs can connect to and get and put, and other people can then get and put. It's sort of, think of it like it's a file exchange. So hence, Open Data Exchange. It's a place where you can exchange files. Scott and I come from a GIS background, so we also wanted something where you can exchange not only small files, but big ones. Okay. So in deciding what technology to use to make this happen, at least myself, I was thinking, why reinvent the wheel? Why not go with a standard that is an RFC standard that a lot of people have written for? It's very adaptable, and let's just implement that. And so here we go, reach back 10 years, and let's use WebDAV. And I'm going to open up something else here. Okay. WebDAV, because it's so flexible, is amenable to being able to see your files and folders. Well, first of all, WebDAV organizes things in ways that you're all familiar with, files and folders. If you use an FTP site, it works that way. Use Windows Explorer, it works that way. And this is a JavaScript client that's built to work with WebDAV, where you see things like on your desktop, your Windows desktop, where you see folders and you see files. So what we're looking at is, oh, okay, I need to do it differently. This doesn't have the, let's download it. I got to put my glasses on, sorry. When I hit 40, I needed this. So there's our Acrobat file. Oh, boy. It's back there. Wait. There we go. So what, so you can open files just like you would. This is one way of doing it, and this is starting to show the flexibility of WebDAV. So here's a JavaScript client that you can use to download. You can use it. If I was logged in, I can create folders. I can move things. I can delete things. And let's see if we right-click on this thing. And this particular file just has one version. Now, versioning for us was important because if you're sharing files, you want to be able to track versions. So these files are big, so this is kind of not like your source code control repository. You can version things that are gigabytes in size. Okay, so there's a JavaScript way of looking at this. Some of the other ways you can connect with WebDAV, now we're getting into the API part of it. For regular computer users, it is possible to give this URL to your computer, Windows Explorer. If you're using a Mac, it's a different process, where you see the website as a disk drive on your computer. Pretty wild, huh? So you just have like your network shares. It becomes another network share. Some of the other things you could do with this, because there is an API involved, I'm going to go back to that other window. I'm going to click on this. Do you see this URL? I don't know if you can see it, but it's a URL that goes to the file, right? Because WebDAV extends the verbs on a web server, you can click on this. And it downloaded the file. The significance of that is you can use the JavaScript client, you can use it as a disk share, you can put this file up into the Exchange on your site, create a link where people can then download it. The other thing you can do is, if you're like me, a programmer, you can write something that reaches out and downloads that file. Let's say it's a CSV file, DBase file, whatever, and then loads that into your database. Because it's WebDAV extends what a web server naturally does, you could do the opposite. You can do a put. So let's say you can write a program that every day pulls something out of a database and puts the data right here. So we have on another, like the test version of this, we have that working on a project with DGS. I can't remember his name. Jim? SPI.
Oh, Sandy?
Jim? No, I don't think so. So what this is really, I think, from a programming standpoint, really wild. They have a database with a stored procedure that runs, fires off an executable from a trigger in the database, and throws the new state property inventory data up to the WebDAV. On our side, Sam Hayashi is using FME. It's a product from Safe Software that can watch for changes on the website, because it is, after all, a website. Change a file, the date changes. You watch for that change. It sees a change, downloads it, and puts it on our SQL server. That can all be automated. And so that's something that's the reason why we chose WebDAV, is because you do have this user-friendly way of looking at things. From a programmer point of view, you can automate, and it's a tried and true API. It goes a long ways back. The last couple things I'd like to show you is just around the site a little bit, because there's some places where you can get information. And Lori's going to cringe, I'm sure, when she sees grammatical errors, and she's going to fix that. Okay. Okay, so if you hit Getting Started, you have a number of things you can look at. You can access this content using web browser. That was that window I was showing with the file and folders. With your operating system on your local computer, if you have Windows or iOS, Unix or Linux, you can create like a drive share-like connection to it. If you can use so if you're an FTP fan, like an old school guy like me, You can use things like WinCP, CyberDuck, and Smart FTP. CyberDuck is something I know Mac users use. You can also link files. You upload a file, make sure it's public. That's one thing I didn't cover, is that there is built into the system a user group kind of access control list type thing. If it's public, you just link it to the website so you can store stuff up there. Write your own programs and access files. The other thing I'll show you, so we've got some tutorials on, this is mostly for when you have an account with us. You can set up your workspace. It kind of walks you through screenshots of that. How to set your workspace up for public access. Okay. And control access using user groups. And, you know, once again, this is when you have an account. You can do all this stuff. And here's some of the permissions. We've kept our permissions pretty simple and straightforward. So modify is just like on a Windows machine. It means you can create, update, delete, read and execute, list folder contents, and read. Sometimes you could be really granular and remove permissions. And the last is our facts, because I cover some things on some topics people often ask me. So first one, especially the GIS types, they want to know how big a file I can put up there. There's two ways of looking at this. If you're using the drive letter, like the drive share type of connection, that connection is going from your OS to, in our case, Internet Information Server without any modification. IIS on its own right now, at least the version we have, has a 2 gigabyte file size limit. It's kind of big, but that's a problem. You know, that's just what we live with. If you use the web or the JavaScript client, the thing that you're seeing, or your own program, it goes 8, and reality it can go beyond, but I don't recommend that. And the reason why it goes higher is it chunks the files going up. It takes pieces of a file, throws them up to the web server, which captures it, downloads it, and then it takes another piece of the file, throws it up, and appends it. So that way it gets around this 2 gigabyte limit. There's always things to consider when you're dealing with large files. It's an internet connection. So if someone's trying to download a large file, it's, you know, we can only do so much between the data center and wherever. So if you don't need to have your files 8 gigabytes, don't do it. Who can use the Exchange? Any state government entity. Any California state government entity can get an account. State, regional, local, right, Scott?
Correct.
Correct, okay. He's the guy that holds the purse strings, so he's paying for it. Do we encrypt our files? No. And there's a reason for that, is encryption can get dicey on our end because we have to keep the keys. So if you want to encrypt, what I suggest you do is encrypt at your desktop, save the password at your desktop, and then throw it up. But this wasn't really meant for stuff that's super secret, you know, PCII, you might have heard that acronym before. But so that's why we don't encrypt, because we don't want to be responsible for, you know, super secret stuff. And if you want more information, you can email us there. Or my email address is eric.kauffman, Kauffman, @state.ca.gov. So that's the virtual tour. Anyone have any questions? Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So, WebDAV,
WebDAV is in fact, I'll bring up a website that talks about that. WebDAV is a protocol it goes way back. That was another reason why I chose it, because it's an open protocol. A lot of different things can work with it, and there's a published guide and an accepted RFCs on it. Our WebDAV server, if you really want to get into the weeds, is a level 2 web server, which means it'll do access control list, or no, versioning. And then we've adopted some of the later RFCs which have to do with access control lists. And this website, webdav.org, has lots of links and information about WebDAV if you want it to go at it from there. My recommendation is, if you want to write a program, if you're programmers out there, find a library that is already a WebDAV library for the language you're using. They exist for Java, .NET, Perl, JavaScript, as you saw. So they're out there, and I just recommend don't reinvent the wheel. Use something that already exists out there. And oh, by the way, you can have a WebDAV server at your place too. I mean, there's a lot of servers out there. Plus, some web servers come with the protocol built in, like IIS, I know does. Yeah.
I think maybe also what the question was alluding to is, what are some of the possible uses for this? If you're not like a programmer, what are some of the benefits you can get from using this, file sharing?
Sure. So let's say you're a department that wants to distribute files like data, photographs, whatever. You can get an account with us and then place them here. And then you can link to those files, like I was showing you, from your own website. So people may not really know it's coming off of this thing. They just know they go to your website, find the links, and download them. Yeah.
So there's a file size, but is there a, like in Google Drive, you have like X amount of gig in your account or Dropbox.
Oh, okay.
Is there a cap as to how many how much you can
We have not. We haven't established that, have we? No. So far it's wide open.
Okay.
Yeah, but just if you use up a terabyte, you're using up the collective terabyte. So just put up there what you need to do.
Eric, how much do we have in terms of storage backing up the system?
I know.
The question was.
How much do we have in terms of storage backing up?
Oh, how much do we have in terms of storage? Well, it's elastic in a way. So yes. So I think we have almost a terabyte.
Okay.
But it's built in such a way where it can grow.
Got it.
Yeah. So because it's in a virtual world, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
When you create an account, is it necessarily going to correspond to one of the folders in that browser folder structure?
Okay. So when you create an account, the first thing that happens is we create a folder with your email address. And so that's your folder. And if you're the first one for your department or the designee for your department, you might then create a folder with your department's acronym. And then at that point, you have full control over that folder of, making it public or not, or you create groups. So you invite others to create accounts, and then you add those users to your groups, just like on a Windows folder, where you give them permissions.
So you demonstrated stuff inside a folder called Commerce?
Yes.
So was the stuff inside that Commerce folder necessarily all belonging to a single profile?
Okay, so I'll go back to that glasses again. So what we're looking at here is this public folder is sort of like a folder. Well, it is a folder that everyone can see, and systems administrators have write access but we've granted the public read access on the public folder, like an FTP site. Should you create your, so I don't know if that answers your question, but it's not, this particular folder is not associated with a particular profile, right?
Okay.
But you would create your own folders, and those would be associated with you. You're sort of like the owner. In fact, you are the owner of that folder. So when you choose someone for your department to be the caretaker, and that person leaves, then we have a way of doing a switcheroo, but you have to let us know. It's not.
I can imagine our department might have things that logically fall under boundaries and environment.
Oh, yeah, I didn't answer your question. These folders here, if you wanted stuff for the public, you can put them here, and then, or I think the way to do it is you would put them in your own folder, and then let us know you want these files put in this folder. We just put them there for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't want the world to have right access. As you can imagine, that would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to answer that question, yeah. Or you can have your department acronym with your own set of folders as well.
Okay.
But I think if it's public, and this works for you, I'd say just let's move your stuff into here.
Yeah. Questions from the webinar?
Oh, okay.
Probably easier for you to just read them.
Oh, I can't. Here, why don't you read it? Because
Okay, it says free for state agencies to use.
yeah, free, right, Scott?
Correct.
Yes. This is free for state agencies to use. All right. What's the next one?
I think Scott answered the next one, which is there a total capacity limit? It's flexible.
The capacity, is there a capacity limit? It's flexible. Right now, we have almost a terabyte of space, but we don't want to encourage people to soak all that up right away. Just be judicial, because it's a free service, so we all have to work together to keep it cheap, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Any other questions from the
No, this is time.
internet? Okay. All right. Anyone else? No? Okay. Oh, Tom.
On the versioning piece, does it say who, like, is there an account associated with the version?
Let's take a look at one. In the database that tracks all this stuff, there is, but I don't know if we're showing that, but let's take a look at that. Yeah, so this is
Okay.
the username that saved that particular version, right there. And it's got the date and time. Yeah, I wish I had one I have some stuff I've versioned, but it's under my account. So, but you'll see like multiple versions, and when you own that file, you can actually take a version and make it the current one. So let's say someone totally blew it with an Excel file, like I've been known to do. You take an older one and make it the newer one. Yeah. Is that it?
Good.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.